Hey, welcome to yoga class. Today's class is called Yoga Holds. The benefits of holding yoga poses include stretching the muscles, building strength and stamina, allowing time for alignment so you can actually feel the poses in your body and adjust and then readjust if you need to. Also, holding poses gives us space to notice the emotions that are coming up for us and to stabilize the mind and body. So in this class, we're going to practice holding basic yoga poses that are key in a variety of styles of yoga. So we'll start off in mountain pose, Tadasana. Now, as you come into your mountain pose, go ahead and bring your feet to hip distance. So if you look down to your feet, there should be enough space for one more foot of yours to fit. So rather than thinking the outer part of the hips, find the bony bits at the front of the hips, and then you want your feet in alignment with that. Arms are going to be by your sides, and you might notice that your shoulders creep up to your ears. We do this a lot without even noticing. We hold tension. So let's just inhale, roll the shoulders up to the ears, and then exhale, take the shoulders back and down. Setting the shoulders away from the ears. You can take a couple more if you want to get settled in. Inhale, shoulders rise up. Exhale, shoulders come back and down. Maybe taking one more. And then settling into your mountain pose. Now, as you come into this posture, close your eyes. If your knees are locked out, just take a little micro bend in the knees. Think about pulling the belly button in towards the spine. This way, protecting your low back. And with your gaze inward, your eyes closed, feel yourself settling into this standing foundation. You might notice yourself swaying a little bit. Just give yourself time to get adjusted here into your bones. You might even lift the toes, spread them wide, and then place them back down onto the mat. Now on your next inhale, practice breathing in all the way to the top of the breath, all the way until you can't take in any more air. And when you're ready to exhale, practice releasing slowly. And again. Full lung capacity breathing, inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale for a slow release. Maintain practicing lengthening the breath. And in this way, know that you're calming your own nervous system, giving yourself a chance to down-regulate, giving yourself a chance to connect with this pranayama, this life force energy. On your next exhale, maybe open your mouth, take a sigh of relief. Inhale, taking in fresh, clean, new air. Each exhale is an opportunity to release stale, stagnant energy. Continue to breathe in this way. Exhale, let go. Now, as you're working with your breath, give yourself a moment to take an intention for your practice today. If your intention is different than stretching, alignment, all these things that we benefit from in the yoga holds. Just simply noticing what comes up for you. Perhaps noticing where your emotions are today. Where's your attention going? Let it be what it is for this time of practice today. Exhale, let go. Inhale, taking in your intention. Exhale, letting go of anything that may be distracting you in this time. Let's take one more full round of breath. Exhale, release, let go. Now flutter the eyes open, coming back into the space. Noticing where your feet are in your standing foundation. Start to heel toe your feet together so that your big toes meet and there's just a little space at the heels. Maybe lifting the toes again and then placing them back down. Now on your next inhale, sweep the arms up, let the palms meet. Maybe the fingers interlace. Position the biceps outside of the ears. Next inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, lean both of your arms over to one side. Practice sending the hips over to the opposite side. Keep the feet grounded. Give yourself an opportunity for lateral flexion, opening up the side body, releasing congestion and tightness. And on the next inhale, lift the arms up. And then exhale, take it over to the other side. So this first round, just taking a few breaths on each side, noticing how the side body feels, noticing if one side is tighter than the other. Next inhale, rise up to center, and then we'll come back to the first side. Now we are going to take a longer hold on this side. You've got the option to keep your arms as they are, or you can lower your bottom arm down. This might allow you to stretch a little deeper, so you decide what's working for you in your body in this pose. Reaching through the fingertips, bringing your awareness back to your breath. Taking one more full round of breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Lift that bottom arm up on your next inhale, and then exhale, take it to the other side. Now, hands can stay together, or you can lower that bottom arm. Trying both, seeing what's serving you, reaching through the top fingertips, keeping that bicep above the ear. Find your breath. Feel into the side body. We're going to take one more round of breath. Exhale, let go. Inhale, lift that bottom arm up to meet the top arm. And then exhale, take the hands down. Now from here, we are going to change the station of our body from a standing position to a gentle inversion. For some of you, it might be gentle. For some of you, it might be a little more dynamic. It's downward facing dog. So if you try it, or if you look at it and you think, I don't want this inversion, this isn't going to work for me for whatever reason, then know that you can come into child's pose instead. So for downward facing dog, from mountain pose with our arms by our sides, as we inhale, we'll lift the arms up, and as we exhale, we'll just hinge at the hips coming into a forward fold. Now, as you come into this forward fold, you're going to want to connect your hands down to the mat. So if your hands don't make the connection, you can bend your knees to make that happen. Then you're going to step your right toes back and then your left toes back. So we're coming into plank position. From here, we'll lift the hips way up high and then send them back. So again, we want the ears between the biceps. If your hamstrings are tight, you can bend your knees. Try that, see if that feels better in your body. Whether your knees are bent or your legs are straight, think about sending your chest towards your thighs. If the hamstrings are more open, you might press the heels back. You might bend one knee as the opposite leg straightens. Just releasing tension from the legs. As one leg straightens, feel the stretch going up the leg into the hip. And just exploring movement, noticing what your body wants to do. You might even rock the hips from side to side if you can straighten the legs. And then from here, we'll find center. We're going to transition back to that plank pose. As you inhale, shift forward. And as you exhale, you're going to lift those hips, come back into downward facing dog. Now, from your downward facing dog, start to walk your feet to the top of the mat. Take your time, there's no rush. Remember, we're taking longer holds. Inhale, take a half lift, bring your palms to your shins. And then exhale, fold. Now, in this forward fold, you might feel the hamstrings opening up. If this feels good to you, know that we're going to take this shape in an extended amount of time as we come to the end of our practice, taking it from a seated position. From now, we're going to use this forward fold to gently roll up to standing, back to Tadasana mountain pose. So bend those knees and slowly start to roll up. Let your head come up last as you find this standing position. And as you get there, here's another opportunity to inhale, lift the shoulders up to the ears, exhale, take the shoulders back and down. Really relaxing those shoulders. And then looking at your feet, positioning the feet back to hip distance, remembering what that looks like, remembering how much space between your feet, looking at the arches of your feet, make sure there's about 6 inches between the 2 feet. And as we come into this standing position with feet hip distance, we're now going to come into a series of standing postures. So we're going to start off with Warrior One. So for Warrior One, I recommend taking your hands to your hips. From here, shift the weight into your left foot so you can step your right foot way back. Now, as you step that right foot back, position the foot to 45 degrees. So think about your toes facing the edge of the mat. Now, as you bring your back foot back to 45 degrees, you want to keep your front knee bent and tracking above the ankle. Now, from here, you're going to rotate your torso and your gaze forward. Now, as you do this, if you notice that your hips are facing more to the side rather than forward, you can adjust by opening your front foot wider, which is going to bring the hips pointed forward. Then we'll lift the arms up, gaze forward, keep a bend in that front knee, and press to the pinky side of that back foot. Warrior One. Now, staying here for a longer hold, feel the strength in your body. Feel the strength and the activation in the legs. Notice where you're feeling stretching happening. Notice how it feels to reach your fingertips up towards the sky. Keeping that front knee bent. Gazing forward, we're about halfway through, you've got this. Now come back to your breath. Inhale deeply through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, let go. Keep the strength in this standing posture. Know that we've got just a few more rounds of breath, so really taking this time to lengthen the breath. Inhaling deeply all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, let go. We've only got one more round of breath left. Exhale, release. Bring the hands down to the hips. Now, if you widened that distance of your front foot, go ahead and shimmy it back in. Now we're going to transition to Warrior Two. So all we really need to do here for the back foot is to rotate the foot from 45 to 90. So as you do this, you now want the pinky edge of your foot parallel to the back of the mat. Now the arms are going to reach out. So fingers are reaching in opposite directions. We still have the knee bent, back leg is straight. Now your gaze is going to be to your front middle finger. So this is the hand that you have above your bent knee. And you want your torso to be centered. So avoid leaning forward or leaning back. Keep that torso centered. Keep your gaze forward. We're about halfway through. Feel the strength in the thigh. Notice how this posture feels in your body. Find your breath. We've got about 15 seconds left. Feel gratitude for getting stronger in your practice. Let's take one more round of breath here. Exhale, let go. Now, transitioning to our next posture, press into that front foot to straighten the leg. Reach the front fingers forward. Feel the torso reaching forward, and then just rotate the arms. Now, you can bring the back of your palm to your inner thigh, or you can take your hand down to a block. This is up to you. Just make sure that you're not collapsing. So it doesn't matter how far you reach down, but you want to think about reaching the top fingers up and opening the chest. See if you can gaze up to the ceiling, making sure that you're not collapsing in the chest. So chest, rather than facing down, open the heart, gaze up. See if you can see your fingertips that are reaching for the sky. Now, if you're looking up and that hurts your neck, you can always rotate your head to look down to the mat, but keep that straight alignment. This is a fun one that you can even hold up against the wall and notice how that feels in your body. So we're going to start to transition out of this one. So to come out of it, as you inhale, take your arms back to center, bend that front knee, just come back to warrior two. And then lower your hands down. From here, straighten that front leg and then rotate the toes. So all 10 toes are facing the same direction. This means that the pinky edges of the feet are parallel to the short ends of the mat. Now we're going to take those three postures, warrior one, warrior two, and triangle, now facing the opposite direction. So you're going to face the back of your mat. This means that you're going to rotate your toes to the short end of the mat. Now the opposite knee is bent. Remember, we're facing the opposite direction. So from here, starting with our warrior one, we want that back foot to be at 45 degrees. So as you look back, adjust that back foot. Remember, toes should be facing, all 5 toes should be facing the edge, long edge of the mat. And then as you turn your body to gaze forward, remember, if you have trouble keeping the hips square to the front and you're looking more off to the side, open that front foot, shimmy it out to the edge of the mat, and this is going to help bring those hip points forward. Then we lift the arms up. Gaze forward. Position the ears between the biceps. Reach those fingertips up towards the sky. Now, as you're holding this posture, keep that front knee bent and press to the pinky edge of that back foot. All you need to do here is notice where you're feeling the activation in the legs, feeling the strength building in the body, and then coming back to your breath, deepening the breath, breathing with full lung capacity breathing, using this pranayama, this life force energy, this breath, to help you stay in this posture for a longer amount of time. It's almost time to transition. On your next exhale, lower the hands down to your hips. Now, if you shimmy that front foot out, bring it back into where you started. Transitioning to warrior two, we're going to rotate that back foot from 45 to 90. So now that means we keep this front knee bent, back foot, pinky side is parallel to the short end of the mat. And then we fly the arms. Now, as we fly the arms, remember, torso is centered. We don't want to reach forward. We don't want to reach back. Keep the torso center. And then the arm that you have above your bent knee, you're looking to that middle finger. Bring the fingers together. Hold. Breathe. Feel. I feel gratitude for this time and space to practice. Practicing in your own home space, hopefully without distractions. I can hear my dog running around in the background, jingling her collar because she wants so bad to be in the yoga room, but this time is for you. So continue to breathe. Just a couple more rounds of breath. I know this is a longer hold. You can do it. We're almost there. One more round of breath. Inhale fully all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open the mouth, release, let go. Now press into that front foot, straighten the leg. Reach the fingers forward, feel the torso go forward, and then rotate the arms. Now on this side, I am going to show you what it looks like to use a block if you have them in your home practice. The block's going to go to the inside of the ankle, and as you rotate the arms, your bottom hand comes down to find the block. If you don't reach for the block, it's okay. You can take the first option that we did on the other side. Top fingers are reaching up towards the sky. Now, maybe you gaze up. If that affects your balance, maybe you turn your head to gaze down. Know that we're already halfway through this posture. Feel into the body. Feel the deep stretching at the inner thigh. Think about stacking the arms. 2 more rounds of breath. You've got this. On your next inhale, use your energy to lift out, bend that front knee, come back to warrior 2. Exhale, bring the hands down. Press into that foot, rotate all 10 toes forward, and then heel toe the feet back together. So remembering when we brought our big toes together, a little space at the heels, we're going to come back to that. Now we're going to come into a standing balance posture. So this is our tree pose. So for our tree pose, we've got lots of different options. I'm going to take you through them so you can decide and try and see which one your body is really responding to today. So for the first option, decide which foot you want to be your foundational foot. Doesn't matter which one because we're going to do this on each side. So once you decide which foot's going to be your foundational foot, pick up that foot, spread the toes, leave that foot down. Now the opposite foot, come onto the toes, lift the heel. So you might start with the toes beside the grounded foot. This is option 1. Now this is a standing balance. It's also a hip opener. So we want to think about opening that bent knee out to the side for external rotation for the hip. Now, if you want to move into option 2, you can lift the toes off the mat and bring the arch of your foot to find the calf muscle. Now, if you feel a little wobbly, but you want to try this one, you can shimmy over to a wall space, take your hand to the wall for support. Now, we can go even deeper by taking the same side hand to reach for the lifted foot and then help guide the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. So this is our option 3. Now, if we're coming into option 3, we want to think about pressing the foot and the thigh together. That's going to help us with our stability. So your hands can stay on your hips, or you can take your hands to your heart center if you prefer. Remember, you've got the wall space. We're already halfway through. You can lift your arms up if you want to grow your tree branches. And if you feel super comfortable here, you might challenge yourself more by closing your eyes. And if at any point it becomes too much, you can always bring your hands back down to your heart center or to your hips. 2 rounds of breath. Last round of breath. As you exhale, take your hands down to your hips. Inhale, lift the knee up. Exhale, take the foot down. Now, lift the heel of the foot that was just standing. You might feel a lot of tension in the arch of the foot from that longer hold. So by lifting the heel and then drawing circles with the knee, we're going to work that tension out. And then we'll circle around opposite direction. And then we'll set the foot down, okay? Keep that knee bent, keep it soft. Slide the foot over to your grounded foot. So now opposite foot is grounded. Take a moment to lift the toes and then send them back down to the mat. So With the heel lifted and the knee bent, remember this is also a hip opener in combination with the standing balance, so we want the knee out to the side for external rotation. Option 1, toes stay grounded. Option 2, lift the toes off the ground, bring the arch of the foot to the calf muscle. Now we know that we can go deeper with our option 3, and before we try that, remember you can take your hand to a wall space for support. If you want to go for option 3, you're going to take the same side hand to reach for the ankle, assist in bringing the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Remember, press the sole of the foot and the inner thigh together to help you with your stability and your balance. Tree pose. Options to take your hands to different places, maybe to the heart center, prayer hands. Maybe you grow your tree branches. We're more than halfway through. Maybe you challenge yourself by closing your eyes, knowing that if you wobble out of the posture, you can always come right back into it, so no worries. If the arms are lifted and the eyes are closed, go ahead and start to bring the hands down, open the eyes, working the hands down to the hips. On your next inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, take the foot down. Now, lift the heel of the foot that was just your foundational foot, and then circle the knee around, work out any of that tension from the longer hold. And then circle around opposite direction. And then the heel comes down. All right, so we're gonna take one more standing posture. This is chair pose. It's also known as awkward pose. If you haven't done this one before, you might feel that this one requires a lot of attention and just trying to stay in the pose without becoming frustrated. So in this pose, we're gonna bring the big toes together, again, little space at the heels. I'm gonna just rotate so that you can see how the shape of my body is gonna change. When we start off with our arms by our sides, big toes together, and as we inhale, we'll sit back as if we're sitting in a chair, graze those fingertips, keep the knees bent, reach the arms up. Now, in your chair pose, I want you to think about sitting back rather than leaning forward. And when you look down to your feet, make sure your knees aren't coming past your toes. Maybe you sit a little lower. Squeeze the thighs together, really activating. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You've got this. Just a few more rounds of breath. Building strength in the body, in the legs. If you feel yourself shaking, that's cool. You're just getting stronger and growing in your practice. Next, exhale, press the feet to the mat. Come into your standing position. Good. All right, so at this point of our practice, we're done with the standing portion. We're going to start to work our way down to the mat. So as we work our way down to the mat, standing at the top of the mat, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Now we want to connect the hands. Remember, you can bend the knees to make the connection. Step the right foot back, step the left foot back. Now, remember our plank pose. From here, we're going to lower the knees and then lower the tops of the feet. Now, I want you to try keeping the tops of the feet down and lifting the knees. So we're in our upward facing dog. Gaze is forward. If this is too active for you, lower the knees back down. Bend the elbows. Feel the belly connected. Press the tops of the feet to the mat. Keep the chest lifted and gaze forward. So option for upward facing dog or cobra. Getting extension in the spine. And now transitioning to child's pose. Taking the hips back to the heels. Lower the forehead down to the mat. Now, if your forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can position a prop, like a block, a blanket, or a pillow, to rest the forehead on. If you've got your knees together, your legs together, feel the flexion in the spine. If you've got your knees apart, know that you're getting a nice hip stretch. If you feel like your shoulders could benefit from a break, you can bring your arms by your sides. Whatever you choose in your child's pose, allow yourself to completely ground down. Exhale, let go. Our deep, standing, strengthening work is done. Now we're going to focus on stretching and some longer holds from some more grounded positions. Come back to lengthening your breath. Bring all of your awareness to your full lung capacity breathing. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath here. Inhale completely. Exhale fully. Inhale, lift the head up. Finding axial extension in the spine. And then from here, we want to lift the hips just enough to bring the feet out to one side, and then bring the feet in front of you. So we're coming into our butterfly pose. Now for this one, we want to bring the soles of the feet together. The knees are splayed out like butterfly wings. Now we've got some things to check for before we fold forward. Know that when we fold forward, we're going to feel the stretch of the inner thighs and in the entire back space. First, pay attention to your knees. So if your knees feel okay and you want to go for a deeper stretch, you can pull your heels towards your body. If this is uncomfortable for your knees, then you can send your feet further away. So just see how much you want to open the angle at the knees. Then take your thumbs to the arches of your feet. Inhale, reach the crown of your head up. And then as you exhale, fold forward. Think about bringing your belly button towards your feet. And just fold enough to where you can feel a stretch. So we want to feel a deep stretch. We don't want to go all the way to the point of pain or major discomfort. And then as you reconnect with your breath, simply notice if you can fold a little deeper with each exhalation. Know that we're already halfway through this pose. The more you fold, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch. Listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you how far to go, what it needs. Feel and enjoy the stretch. And on the next inhale, lift the head, slowly taking your time to come out. Now bringing your hands outside of your thighs, guiding your knees together will bring the feet forward, extending your legs. And as you look at your feet, bring your feet together. Legs are extended. Now, from the seated posture, I recommend taking the flesh from the glute with your hand, pulling it back on each side. This is going to help you feel a little more grounded in your seat. From here, we're going to take a forward fold to feel into the back and the hamstring. So if you remember when we were in our standing forward fold, and I told you that we were going to take that shape with a little more time from a grounded seated position, this is it, Paschimottanasana. So we'll start off by reaching the fingertips up on the inhale breath, and then as we exhale, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Now, don't think about reaching, grabbing, or pulling for your feet. Simply let your arms rest passively. And just focus on folding with each exhale. Feeling the congestion in the back space releasing. Feeling a stretch at the back of the legs and the hamstrings. Staying in this shape, in this pose. Just 2 more rounds of breath. Preparing to transition out. On your next inhale, lifting your head. Gaze is forward. Back to a straight spine. And then from here, know that we're going to come into a reclined position. So we're going to lean back. So you can take your hands behind the hips, walk the hands back, come on to the forearms. Make sure there's enough space for you to bring your entire back, shoulders, and head down onto the mat. So from here, we're going to take a few postures. We're going to start off with our wind relieving pose. So we'll lift the right foot, bend the right knee, take your palms to your right shin, interlace your fingers. Now, as you do this, think about pulling your right knee towards your right shoulder. Hold the pull here, remember knee to shoulder. And if you'd like, you can draw circles with your right big toe, getting some ankle mobility, and then circling around opposite direction. Wind relieving pose. Let the foot relax. This is a great posture for digestion. Anytime you're feeling like there's something funky going on in your digestive tract, this is a really great way to move things along and feel more comfortable in your body. A few more rounds of breath here. Keep pulling that knee in towards the shoulder. And know that from here, we're going to transition into a spinal twist to continue to help aid in digestion. So with your right knee bent, release your right hand, open your right arm out to the right. Take your left hand to the outside of the right thigh and gently guide the right knee over to the left. Keep the right shoulder down. Spinal twist. Now, with your left hand on your thigh, don't worry about pushing. Just gently let your hand rest there. Now, your gaze can be up to the ceiling, or for a deeper spiraling of the spine, you can look over to the right. Hold and breathe. Notice how the spine feels, how the back feels. If there's discomfort at your neck, you can face straight up to the ceiling, or you can face over to the left. One more round of breath here. And then release the left arm. Inhale, lift that right knee up, roll onto your back. Send that right foot down to the mat and extend it. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, release. Now, before we take those 2 postures on the other side, notice the right leg. Notice the left leg. Perhaps the right leg feels longer. Some lengthening happening in our practice. Now let's lift that left leg, bend the left knee, take your palms to your left shin. Interlace your fingers, and then from here, practice pulling the left knee towards the left shoulder. As you pull the knee towards the shoulder in our wind relieving pose, you can also incorporate ankle mobility by drawing circles with the left big toe feeling into the left ankle. And then drawing circles opposite direction. You might even hear some nice cracks and pops. Just releasing stagnation from the joints. Relax the foot. Continue to pull the knee in towards the shoulder. Great posture for digestion. One more round of breath. Know that we're going to transition into our spinal twist. So we'll release that left arm, let the left arm ground down to the left, and then slide that right hand to the outside of the left thigh, and gently guide that left knee over to the right. Spinal twist. It's okay if the knee doesn't touch all the way down to the floor. Remember, your gaze can be in the same direction as your knee for less spiraling of the spine. Or you can gaze straight up to keep the neck neutral. Or for a deeper spiraling of the spine, you can gaze over to your left hand. Halfway through our spinal twist. Simply hold, breathe, and feel. Release the right hand from the thigh. Inhale, lift the knee up. Exhale, take the left foot down, lengthen the leg, take a full round of breath here. Exhale, let go. Shavasana. We can simply stay in this shape for the length of our practice today. I recommend that you stay in Shavasana for 8 to 10 minutes, giving yourself time to integrate all the work you've done in the physical postures, and allowing yourself to be in this shape of relaxation. Simply allowing yourself to be present in your physical body. Connecting to yourself. In this time, simply lengthening the breath and practicing sending the thoughts away just as easily as they arrive. This is your practice. It is entirely up to you how long you stay in your Shavasana. We'll close our practice together here. The light in me sees, honors, and recognizes the light within you. Thank you so much for showing up for your practice and for allowing me to guide you. Namaste.